Hello everybody. Today in this session we'll discuss Iso-quent curve, economics of scale and diseconomics of scale. So for that, just I am sharing my screen. So as I have mentioned that today we'll discuss Iso-quent curve, economics and diseconomics of scale. So here we'll develop some basic question and which answer we will be going to address throughout this session. Now first, what is Iso-quent curve? Then what are the assumption of Iso-quent curve? What is economics of scale? And what is diseconomics of scale? These are the question answer we are going to address throughout this session. So for that, I am going to cover topic like definition of Iso-quent curve, assumptions of Iso-quent curve, then economics and diseconomics of scale. These are the topic I'll cover throughout this session. Now first we'll discuss definition of Iso-quent curve. An Iso-quent curve shows all the possible combination of input factors that yield the same quantity of production. Means like there will be a combination of factors. Combination of factors, we will consider two factors. Two factors, that is labor and capital. Two factors, labor and capital, and with this combination of the labor and capital, we will get the same output. In other words, an Iso-quent curve is a geometric representation of the production function wherein different combination of labor and capital are employed to have the same level of output. Like if we combine two factors of production, labor and capital, and through this we may get the same level of output. This is basically the core concept of the Iso-quent curve. Now we know that there are four factors of production. These four factors of production are land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Out of these four factors of production, here we are considering two factors. These are land, labor, and capital. Labor and capital we are considering in the Iso-quent curve, and with the combination of the labor and capital, we may have the same level of output. So this we are going to explain with the assumption, then Iso-quent curve schedule, then Iso-quent curve graph. Next we'll move to the assumptions of Iso-quent curve. We need to assume that only two factors of production, that is labor and capital, are taken into the consideration. Only labor and capital are taken into consideration. These factors can be substituted for each other. These two factors can be substituted for each other. That means labor can be substituted for capital, and capital also can be substituted for labor. The factor of production can be divided into small part. Like labor and capital can be divided into small parts. Then it is assumed that technology remain constant. Here we need to assume that the technology will remain same or it will be remain constant. Then the shape of the Iso-quent depends on the level of substitutability between the factor of production. The shape of the Iso-quent curve depends on the level of the substitutability between the factor of production. That means how many unit of labor or how many unit of capital we are considering, and based on that the shape of the Iso-quent curve will depend. Next we'll move to the Iso-quent schedule. In the Iso-quent schedule, here first combination is mentioned. you can see the arrow. So combination A, B, C, D. 4 combination we have considered. Now the factor of production, labor and capital are assumed in the isoquant curve. So accordingly, like if there is a 1 unit of labor and 10 unit of capital, and the output can be 100 numbers. Then in the combination B, labor unit are 2 and capital unit are 9. With this combination also, output can be 100 numbers. Then combination C, 3 unit of labor, 8 unit of capital, and the total output is 100 numbers. Then combination D, 4 unit of labor and 7 unit of capital. Total output will be 100 in numbers. Okay, so these basically here you need to understand the concept and assumption also. Like there are 2 factors of production, these are labor and capital, and this factor of production can be substitute for each other. Like labor can be substitute for capital and capital also can be substitute for labor. Then this can be divided into small parts, and these 2 combination of the factor of production will give same level of output. This is basically the overall concept and assumption. And the next we'll discuss the graph also. And for further information, like this information I have collected from the businessjargons.com. This is basically a very much informative and knowledge oriented website, and from this I have collected this information for knowledge gathering purpose and knowledge sharing purpose. Isoquant graph. Now with the same isoquant schedule, we are going to explain the isoquant curve graph. Y-axis represent the capital and x-axis represent the labor. Here same combination, like 1 unit of labor, 10 unit of capital, combination is A. So this is the point. Then B combination, 2 unit of labor, 9 unit of capital, 100 output. Then combination C, 3 unit of labor, 8 unit of capital, output 100. Then combination D, 4 unit of labor, 7 unit of capital, 100 output. Now this is basically the isoquant curve. You can see the arrow. This is isoquant curve. So what was the last assumption? The shape of the isoquant curve depends on the substitutability of the factor of production. So here factor of production are capital and labor. So labor or capital, we have assumed the combination like 10, 1, 9, 2, 8, 3. Okay, so the shape of the isoquant curve will depend on the substitutability of the factor of production. Okay, so this was the last assumption. Next, we'll discuss the economics of scale and diseconomics of scale. Economics of scale are when the cost per unit of production decreases because the output increases, or sale increases, or production increases. Now, more simply, you can say that economics of scale refers to the scale when there is a increase of the per unit production takes place. As a result of that, average cost decreases. Okay, what I said, I repeat, economics of scale refers to the process when due to the increase in the production or increase in the output, the average cost decreases. Then we'll we'll go through the diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale are when the cost per unit of production increases, average cost increases because the output increase or sale increase or production increase. Or simply we can say diseconomies of scale refers to the scale when the cost per unit of production increases due to the increase in the production, sale or output, or cost of the per unit production, service or sale increases. That means average cost increases due to the increase in the production, output or sale. So for that we'll go through an example. Now if we think like in a university, like in a particular program, there is a seat limitation is there. So for particular program, seat limitation is 60. So in a classroom, 60 students can sit. The university have 60 seater classroom. So if the university get 20 admission, 30 admission, then university need to give service to those students with the one set of teaching staff, non-teaching staff, then electricity cost, maintenance service, then cleanliness service. Okay, other infrastructure service university need to provide. But if the admission increase from 30 to 40, 50, then the average cost to serve the student will decrease. In that case, economies of scale will move to a higher position. And when university will secure 60 admission, that time economies of scale for that particular classroom will be at the highest level. But if university secured more admission, say for example 70 admission, so for this extra 10 admission, university need to have another set of facility like classroom, teaching staff, non-teaching staff, electricity, water supply, then maintenance, cleanliness, all these service separately university need to think. But see here, admission of the student increased. With that, average cost increased. The average cost increase. So what will happen? University will face diseconomies of scale. But if the university again secure another 60 admission, total 120 admission, then university will have the economies of scale again. But when there will be less admission, say for example in a section there are 50 students, 40 students in first section, then economies of scale will be at the lower level, lower stage. Okay, but if there is 60 admission for a particular section or classroom, then it will be at the optimum level. So this is basically how through example we have understood the economics of scale and diseconomies of scale. And this literature I have collected from the textbook Staples .br./business organization page website, and I'm very much thankful to them for providing so much of information in their website, which I'm using for the knowledge sharing purpose. Thank you everybody for your attention. Now before finishing this session, I would like to show you another economics of scale, diseconomics of scale, graph. Now these I have taken from the investopedia.com. Investopedia.com also, they also supply good study material, and these are freely available, and I am just taking benefits from this, and we are very much thankful to them also to provide this information to us, and I am sharing this information for knowledge sharing and information purpose. Now here you can see that the y-axis represent the average cost and x-axis represent the output. Okay, now you can see this curve. Okay, so this portion is economics of scale. When production increase, average cost also decrease. Okay, but up to a certain level. After this level, you see average cost start increasing as the production or sales or output increased. This portion is diseconomics of scale, and this portion is economics of scale. So, if what classroom example I have given. So, if you think about the classroom example also, I have taken example of the 2 classroom. Okay, so through the classroom example also, we have understood the economics of scale and diseconomics of scale. Now, thank you everybody for participating in this today's session. Today we have discussed definition of Iso-quent curve, assumption of Iso-quent curve. Then we have discussed Iso-quent curve schedule, Iso-quent curve graph. Then we have discussed economics of scale and diseconomics of scale.